Maybe you should pull the trigger.
What's up, guys? So it's been a long time since I posted my last video. Usually I do these videos every 10,000 miles or so and document for myself, for my future selling process, and for you guys what it would be like to own a WRX, hatchback or sedan, whichever it be, between 2008 to 2014, and pretty much documenting the process of ownership. I have finally hit 100,000 miles in this car, and every car should get to at least 100,000. So as long as you do also the regular maintenance to it. But it's a 2012 Subaru WRX, and it's a hatch. If you're not familiar with the channel, this is what it looks like. It is still doing really well. I drive it probably about 20,000 miles a year. If I give or take rough estimate, it's definitely a lot of miles. But the main thing here is I want to document this process for you guys. These cars are getting higher up in the mileage range as they get older, and as they become more affordable for people who are interested in them. Because of that, you're buying a higher mileage car, which can have issues, can have little quirks and things like that, as Doug DeMuro says.
Strange quirks.
You know, something you're not used to or accustomed to, and you want to be familiar with your car before you invest money into it. So that's what I do here. I'm just been documenting the life of my car from the beginning when I got it at 30,000 miles. You can see my previous videos, to now where I'm at 100,000. This video is going to be between 90 and 100,000. What has happened to my car between that time period. And a few things have happened. So let's get started here. So the first thing that happened, my check engine light came on. I have a picture of that, I'll show you. So the code it threw was a P0138. It's like a high voltage circuit on the O2 sensor, right around bank 1 sensor 2. So that sensor is actually after the cat, and I have some video of what that looked like that I'll switch to here so you can see it. What's up, guys? Under the car here, as you can see. So over the winter, that's my oxygen sensor, pretty rusted under here. There was some frayed wiring and my check engine light went on, and it keeps saying bank 2 or bank sensor 2. That's after the cat. So there's up here, and then you got the one right here. So this is the downstream, not upstream sensor. Really easy to get to, right on top of the cat here. You can use a regular wrench and you can pretty much start getting it out. I started and it's already loose. I bought the new one. It's almost identical OEM. Really good quality. There it is in the bag, you see? Still green wire and everything, plug. So I unplugged it, I'm gonna install it, and hopefully that works. Check engine light goes away and I get my cruise control back. Because I don't know why, but check engine lights in Subarus cause no cruise control or traction control. So not real helpful in the winter time. Okay guys, well here we go. And there it is. O2 sensors out of the hole. Kind of looks a little, to be completely honest, that thing is pretty dirty. The elements got to it. It's pretty done. So let's install the next one. O2 sensors on. Bosch came with anti-seize already on the sensor itself. Really good quality for sure. You definitely want to have some anti-seize on there. You're going into this this old rusted thing, you know, the catalytic converter here. You do not want to be getting this thing seized in there. It's really tough to get a O2 sensor socket to get over this without much room above here and then be able to twist it. You'd have to remove this heat shield almost, and this heat shield would be a pain in the ass to get off. You're better off just using a normal wrench, a box wrench. It came off really simple for me. It wasn't on there too tight. I guess the anti-seize helped for the previous oxygen sensor in here. And can't complain. Easy install, really simple. But yeah, the Bosch is real good quality, almost exactly OEM to the one before. But yep, these things tend to last maybe 100K. I'm right around that point now, so the fact that it went off and it's giving me all these codes, it might have been time to change it. All I can say is I hope it's not my catalytic converter, because that's also possible. But you know what that means? Upgrade time. Get a nice downpipe. But if it's still okay, then that's a good fix. Easy, simple. Okay, guys. See you in the next one. But it was after the catalytic converter, which is better, thank God, after doing research. It's an easier one to deal with and get to. And to be honest, actually, it doesn't do much at all, but just monitor everything that comes after the catalytic converter. It pretty much tells you if your cat is good or not. My cat's fine. There's nothing wrong with my cat, thank God, because that would have been way more expensive. So I ended up buying an oxygen sensor. So Denso makes really good oxygen sensors. They just make good OEM type stuff. And the fittings were perfect. This is the old one in here that I took off. But the fitting on the new one was identical to this. Had the exact plug here, which is really good. This is, however, what ended up happening to my sensor. If they could focus here. You can see that the wires were totally frayed. And I'm not sure what did this, but it might have been the routing of the wires. One of the clips that holds this, because it runs right into the exhaust up there. And then it runs around underneath and plugs into right around where the transmission is, the left side of the transmission. And at that point, it was where it was kind of frayed there. So something tore into it. It was around winter time. I don't know if it was some ice. I'll be honest, we get a lot of snow here sometimes in the Northeast, and I drive over it with this car with ease and confidence. So props to Subaru. But yeah, it just happened to might have caught on some ice underneath the road, and you know, it ended up ripping the wire. So that's when this code started coming on, right in the beginning of winter time. There's nothing wrong with it. The car drove perfectly fine. It wasn't a big issue. I couldn't see any noticeable differences in the way the car ran. So I kind of let it go for a little bit, until, you start to realize that the one thing you use, that I use all the time in this car, and some people don't, but I use all the time, when your check engine light goes off in this car, say goodbye to cruise control. Now, my commute consists of 50 minutes of mostly highway driving to and from work, and I live on cruise control. So without that, I was dying, having to keep my foot on that pedal for that long period of time, fluctuating, because there's no middle point with driving a car. With driving a car, you're either gassing, which is accelerating, whether it be minute or a large amount, or you're decelerating, which is you're off the gas and you're slowing down very slowly. There's no middle point. You can keep your foot on the gas even at a regulated point, and what ends up happening is you're not really going a neutral speed. You're kind of just slowly accelerating or not accelerating. I find that to be annoying on my ankles, and I'd rather just lock it in. I call it the lock it in. Just set the speed, boom, you're going. That's my life right there. I live by that. I pretty much decided that I gotta fix this ASAP. Now, the oxygen sensor here was not that much money. I forgot exactly how much I paid for it, but it wasn't break the bank type expensive. Probably no more than like, I think 80 to 100. I think it was in between that, but probably even cheaper, honestly. I think I got it on Amazon. Plugged the new one on, put it up, code gone. Cruise control was back in my life, and things were better again. Easy fix, but it's something that happened between my 90,000 to 100,000 mile mark. My O2 sensor went. And they tend to last around 100K. And I don't know if it was the sensor or the wires, but based on the way that looks, it was the wires that got a little tore up. And that's what caused it to malfunction, get that high voltage code, P0138. And other people have said, just pray it's not your catalytic converter. For me, it wasn't. Morning cold start. I love that rumble.
Get to the chopper!
So the second thing that happened between 90,000 to 100,000 miles for me was my clutch throwout bearing. If you remember from my previous video, I was going over these weird sounds I was getting from just the car sitting. It was almost like a grindy, screechy noise. Definitely thinking that's the throwout bearing. Coming right from the tranny under there. You can hear it really good from this side of the engine. If you put your ear there, I actually took camera footage of it underneath the car that I think I pretty much posted in the last video. But I didn't know what it was, but after doing research on it, I realized that these cars tend to have bad throwout bearings. And I could depress the actual pedal and you would hear just a kind of sound. When you come off the pedal, it goes away. So you hear it's almost fluttering. It's like you'd hear it every time you come on and off the clutch pedal. And it was extremely annoying because guess what? Every time you switch gears, what do? You press on the clutch pedal. So I was getting like on top of my recirculating blow-off valve type noise, I was getting a so it was like a so imagine those two sounds fused together. Every time you're switching gears, it was so annoying. And it was getting worse, and it was making these crazy screechy noises even when I wasn't on anything. It got to the point where it was bad. I had to take it in. I ended up finding a really good shop down in the South Jersey area that I highly recommend. I am a man for a shop that is against the norm. A shop that has the nitty-gritty look, lets you be around your car. You know it's in the hands of really good people and you can trust them, and they just love what they do. Up north, when I had my Honda, I had great guys up in the New Brunswick area I used to go to. Now South Jersey is where I reside, and I've got some really good guys down there, and I wrote a good review for them, and here's their shop. I'll post it here in the video. You'll be able to see it, but they do great work on Subarus. They rebuild trannies, rebuild motors, they do everything. So I took it into them, and instantly as they pressed it, and of course as I described the issue to them, they knew it was a throwout bearing issue. So they pretty much said, we'll take a look at it, but they just told me what day to come in. They told me on a Friday. I went there, and they got it done in a day. They pulled my tranny. I told them just do the clutch, check the flywheel in case it needs resurfacing. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Just let me know. They said I didn't need to resurface my flywheel. It was good. But man, they showed me a picture of that throwout bearing, and it was a rust fest, the way that thing looked. So it's like a circle like this, and it's got a bunch of bearings in it, and he could spin it, he could twist it, but all it was doing was going he was like, there's your sound, bro. And he just twisted that thing over and over again, and that was the sound. A bearing should spin really, really smooth, almost to the point where you don't hear it. Very, very smooth. But in my case, for that throwout bearing, it wouldn't even spin on itself. He had to force it to turn, and it was grinding, and he was like, that's what your problem is. But the throwout bearing itself is a known common issue of these cars. It's more or less when it starts to happen, and mine started to make noise probably in the 90,000 above range mark. So press that clutch pedal when you see any of these cars you're trying to buy, and see if you hear a lot of noise coming from the pedal itself, like a grinding sensation. Won't change the way the car runs. You'll just hear it as an audible sound. So just listen for it. When they gave me the car back, that pedal was so much lighter. I mean, I felt like my foot, I was Incredible Hulk. I was just slamming the freaking clutch pedal to the floor because it had no like resistance anymore. It was very light. I was blown away. So that let me know that I might have actually needed a new clutch. And I'll be honest, it shifts. It doesn't feel any different in terms of shifting. It gets into gear fine just like before. But my clutch was very heavy when I first got this car. It was a heavy clutch. And it's really light now. And guess what? I have absolutely zero sound anymore. So I used to press this pedal here, and I would get all kinds of sounds. It's completely silent now. I wonder if I have some footage of before, but it was much, much louder. But it's dead silent, clean. They did great work. I'm highly pleased with them. I would recommend them to any of you guys. The shop is called Rally Spec. You pull up, all you see is a bunch of Subarus in the front. You know they're a dedicated Subaru mechanic, and it's 3 friends that just love to work on Subarus. I recommend them. If you're in the South Jersey area, go on over to them. Okay, third thing I ended up doing to this car is tightening up my belts. I didn't replace them because based on the look of them underneath this plate, they didn't look like they needed replacing. I thought they were going to need to be replaced because this past winter I started getting a noticeable squeal in the morning from the belt slipping. It usually happens on cold mornings like that because there's no grip. It's just sliding on the pulley. So I was like, you know what, it might be time for me to change my belts. So this belt that runs the power steering, the alternator, is actually a really easy replacement. So I'm getting some belt squeal here. I'm pretty sure these belts probably have gone bad. Again, I'm not far from the 100,000 mile mark, and I don't know when these belts were replaced last. They don't seem to show any cracking. If I look from this angle here, you know, kind of trying to push a little bit on it, it's about a 1/4 inch leeway here, which is pretty good. But yeah, the belts, I'm getting some major squealing in the morning, the kind of squealing that you want to hide behind your seat and pull your seat back and don't let anyone see your face because it's embarrassing as hell, that kind of squeal. So I think it's time to get these replaced. I've got my belts here. This is power steering. This is AC. So that'll be both belts. And I got here, this will be my power steering. This will be my AC. Yep, that's my compressor here, so AC and everything. I think you take out a few bolts here. This one is a tensioner. It's a bolt under here. There's one more bolt around there somewhere. Alternators should start to drop. This belt should become loose. This belt's got to go first because this belt's behind it. So I'm gonna go with this one first. Yep. Okay, first belt is off. Alternator. There's a little pulley here. I'm not hearing any crazy noises. I don't know what's squealing like that. The belt's not that bad. Maybe it's this belt that's bad. I'm gonna be taking this one off next, but it's not that bad. Yeah, there's a bolt here. You want to take off, like loosen. You don't want to take it off, just loosen it, or you'll lose some. See how flimsy that is? You'll lose some pieces into that abyss. So just loosen that bolt right there, and then just loosen the frick out of this one. Make it as like to the point. It's a long bolt, so just make it to the point where you really can't see the bolt at the bottom here, and you should be able to slide that belt off. It came off pretty simply. I actually put this new belt on there, but after I inspected the old belt a little bit more, there was nothing wrong with it. So I really didn't need to change it. So I put the old belt back on and dealt with that. It seemed okay. But this belt here, which runs the AC, that's on this side, it actually, there's no tensioner on this belt here. No tensioner at all. So to get this belt off, you actually need a special tool that attaches to the crankshaft, and you turn it, and the tool itself slides the belt off. You have to take the front belt off first to get to this belt. So once this belt's off, then you would use the tool to get the back belt off here, the AC belt. And I didn't have that tool. I didn't know that tool was needed until after I bought the belts. But I inspected that belt, and that belt was not the belt making the squealing sound. It was actually this belt. And I ended up just using the tensioner here. You can kind of see it down there. And I tightened it a little bit because it might have been a little loose. I tried to do a little twist to see how much play it has, and it kind of had a little bit of play. So I tightened it a little bit, just slightly, not too much, but just that little bit of tightening actually gave it a bit more grip, and it has not squeaked at all. For the rest of the winter, it actually didn't squeak. So I suggest if you are getting some squeals in the morning, it's still good to inspect your belt. So take it off, look at it, bend it to see if you've got like a noticeable cracks in between the actual notches on it. And then if you don't, it looks like it's good, go ahead and, you know, just as long as you've inspected it, you can put it back on. But try and increase the tension a little bit, just slightly, to make it a little tighter. And if you do that, you may solve your issue. And that actually solved mine. Now I've got these belts here, these new ones. I need to get the tool, but I'm gonna save them. Super easy exchange to switch out the belts. I've watched a video on how someone does the actual stretch belt on there for the AC, and it's not that difficult. Just got to get the tool, and it's not a crazy job. Yeah, you know, I try to keep the bay clean. I try to keep it as clean as I can. Keep everything looking real shiny and nice and not covered in dirt and soot. I try to do a good job keeping this bay clean. Okay, so between 90 and 100K, I put a video out that explained fixing my B-pillar rust. And Subaru did a fantastic job, covering it up a bit. I'd say they just sent it to an auto body shop and they kind of sanded it down, put the actual B-pillar tape back on here. But if I get real close here, you can start to see right here the bubbles are starting to return. Yep, there they are. You can see them slightly on the camera. So it's not totally gone. Rust is something almost impossible to eliminate unless you completely chop it out. I know they weren't going to chop it out. I knew Subaru wasn't going to go to that extent to fix my car. Yes, I have the rust perforation warranty at that time. I got to them right before it was pretty much going to be non-existent because my car is a 2012 and I went to them last year on its 5th birthday about. So it's 5 years, or I think 60,000 miles. I just hit that 5-year mark, 2018. Yep, I got there right before 2018. So they fixed it. They were really nice. I had no problems with them giving me hassles and trying to make this whole situation difficult. They were not difficult at all. It was really easy. They understood that shouldn't be there, and they took my car, sent it to an auto body shop, and they fixed it for free. Awesome. Only problem is, and now I'm beyond that warranty, and I'm pretty sure I'm shit out of luck here now. Honestly, Subaru should have probably just replaced the fucking door. The whole door should have been replaced, honestly. Because there's no eliminating, which someone actually did on one of the Subaru forums. They actually cut this whole piece out and welded back a new piece of sheet metal there. And that solved their problem. But there's just something up here. I don't know what it is, but in this area, there's a hole that this plugs into up here. And water must drain into this and go into here, because even on this end, you can see the bubbling rust. So it's rusting on the inside and on the outside, coming right through. This is not gonna go away. This is something I'm gonna end up having to deal with. I'm just gonna wait for it to get bad again. But who wants like bubbles all over the thing? And a lot of people who have these WRX hatches and sedans, they get those bubbles right there, and it just comes right underneath the blackout tape that's on the corner there. Right now it's tape that's over there, and it'll show itself through from the inside. And once you start getting that, it's a wrap. I'm not getting it on the passenger side, it's just the driver's side, but it's a wrap. You might as well get your door replaced, honestly. And I wish Subaru went that route, but it's starting to rear its head again. And for a car enthusiast, seeing those tiny things that you just don't want to have to deal with, man. You just want to have a good car that runs and you enjoy it and you love it. And I love this car, man. It's a fun car, but things like that, I don't think it's ever going to go away. And I'm not going to go buy a whole door for the car. It's annoying. Maybe I'll try and take it back to Subaru again, see what they'll do, and tell them it came back. I'll wait for it to get worse, but not much I can do here. So just remember, when you're looking into one of these Subarus, check the B-pillars here, check around the car for rust. Yeah, make sure you just inspect the car really well. Magnificent. God, no words. Now to my fellow owners of Subarus, my guys out there with WRXs. We all know these cars have some very thin paint. From here it looks beautiful. Up close, damn, this paint nicked and kicked by rocks and crap on the highway. And I don't know what these birds got in their shit these days. Whatever they're drinking, some straight up acid and toxic waste, Ninja Turtle shit. They literally, you gotta be careful because they will damage your paint. If you see any bird shit on your car, get it off ASAP. ASAP, get it off. I guess some bird had pooped on my car early in the morning. I drove to work, it was a little late. I jumped out of my car, ran inside. I didn't notice this though, I didn't see it. And I'm always walking around my car. This car gives me, it makes my neck break all the time. I'm looking back at it, you know, but I didn't notice this one. It was a small amount, but it must have stayed on the paint all day. I wipe it off really cleanly when I saw it at the end of the day, but hey, the damage is done. 8 hours went by of my work day and it just damaged it. You can see it on the paint. Let's see if I can get a look here. You can see it right there on the paint. Now it left the shape of the poop, which was, you can see it staining straight down there. But yeah, but it got there and it stained. There's no poop on my car anymore. I mean, from here, you could see it's not, you can't see anything, but up close, the acid did its damage. Whatever is in there, uric acid or something like that in their poop, you know, I don't know. Again, it sucks, but they ended up damaging the paint, and it also happened on my hood scoop too. You just catch it as quick as you can. We have thin paint, the clear coat, the birds will eat through it. It sucks, but get it off your car as soon as you can. If you're looking into getting a Subaru, inspect the paint too. You don't want to be dealing with clear coat problems where it's just already starting to crack and peel in the sun. Keep an eye on that. But guys, between 90 and 100,000 miles, where I am right now, this car has been awesome. I've loved it. I've enjoyed experiencing Subaru life, experienced the life of owning a turbo car, a life of experience of full all-wheel drive, symmetrical all-wheel drive system that is well known and has great reputation behind it. The sound, that deep bass. Every car I've owned, whether it be a Honda, my Prelude had a raspy, high-pitched like can on it. Even though it was a Greddy exhaust, it was loud. My G35 had a beautiful purr, and this car is the next step over, just a deep rumble. It's like so different exhausts in my life, and I'm hoping to enjoy many more to come. But this car has been great, guys. Subtle styling, hints of that rally lifestyle with the wide body look and the rumble, and all that's great. And the turbo sounds it makes, amazing. The community is so perfect. I'm so happy with them. I drive down the road, I'm getting waves left and right. Everyone loves to drive a Subaru. Just the other day, pulled into a parking lot, and this old woman, I mean, she had to be like 70. She was getting out of a Subaru Crosstrek, which, by the way, is a really good car. I like the Crosstrek more than the Imprezas, the new ones. Good successor. Still, we just need another WRX hatch. Come on, give us another hatch. But she was getting out of the car, and she came up. She was like, "It looks like both me and you, we drive Subarus, and us Subaru people love to park next to each other. We love to park next to each other." And I was like, yeah, that's very true. You know, we do always seem to park next to each other. I mean, I wasn't trying to park next to her, but it just happened to be that way. But she literally said, "You have a really nice car though. I love that WRX hatch. I wish they made the hatch for the newer ones. That's why I went with the Crosstrek." So she ended up getting a Crosstrek. Why Subaru? At 70 years old, that woman wanted a WRX hatch. She couldn't get it. She couldn't get the hatch because it's not made anymore, Subaru. It's not there. All they have is the sedan WRX. Subaru's losing touch, and I want them to get back into it. Listen to the people that drive these cars every day. They really want a hatch. that screams performance, and I've gotten very accustomed to the practicality of this car. I love this hatch style. I feel like a lot of people end up sucking it up and just going up to the next WRX. It's got a twin scroll turbo, a lot more pep down low. It's a better car altogether. I also don't want an STI. That's not a hatch. I'm gonna hold on to this as long as I can. Stay tuned for more videos for the life of this car. Next video will be 100,000 to 110,000. Let's see what happens between there. Guarantees will be the timing belt for sure, the water pump, new rotors and brakes probably all around, and hopefully no issues, because this car has been really good. Not any issues with the engine or block. Nothing like the crazy stuff you hear from Subarus, that the ringland failure, nothing. Knock on frickin' wood. I need wood right now. I don't have any wood, oh boy. But knock on something, I'll knock on wood later, but let's hope that nothing goes wrong with this car. I love it. It's a great driving experience. I love the community. I love everyone behind it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys maybe in a couple months or a year. Just stay tuned. See ya.